episode 205. Are these comics going to make good film and television shows? We go into the Wayback Machine with Fantastic Four number 280 and Power Lords number 1. Let's talk about it right now. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thank you so much for spending time with me as we rant about movies, comic books, and television shows, as well as the occasional board game. I am your host, Frank Zanca. I'm an award-winning screenwriter, novelist, and comic book writer, as well as a filmmaker. And yeah, we're going to be talking about some comics here, going back to the Wayback Machine. But before we start, remember to give me a like and subscribe if you can. I try to put out videos just about every day. And then on top of that, we are doing the Green Hornet noir novel. It's an anthology for the 90th anniversary, and it has people like Kevin J. Anderson, Timothy Zahn, huge writers involved with this. It's really, really amazing. Cover art by Matt Wagner. We're going to have interior art once we unlock the stretch goal, which I know we're going to do, by Dennis Calero from Marvel. It's just going to be an amazing project. We just launched on Kickstarter a couple of days ago. We are literally $1,500 from fully funding. So jump in there right now. Go to greenhornetnoir.com or the link in the description below, and definitely get in there now while we can unlock some stretch goals coming up and everything like that. But we're so close. It's crazy. So definitely jump in there and help us get that last push. All right, so let's jump into Fantastic Four. So I'm not very happy with the Fantastic Four series that's out right now by North. And I have no idea why they're having him write this whole thing with Doom coming up when he's a very mediocre writer. I started collecting that and I dropped it. So I started going back and getting the old John Byrne run. And I really like this. Definitely in comparison to what they're publishing now. And again, that's why I don't understand why they have a mediocre writer who, I mean, the Fantastic Four it's never even in the top 20 or the top 30 comics since this guy took over. Nobody cares about it. They got a movie coming out, again, that nobody cares about because they've done so many different things to the cast in that, where the Fantastic Four it's not even being visible. The Fantastic Four is not visible in that cast. So I'm just going back to basics. So this is the story of which has come into the limelight right now because of the video game Marvel Rivals, where they ended up putting Malice, which is the Invisible Girl Malice, into that game with her dominatrix look, and everybody kind of went up in arms. But it was very popular because the activists don't understand how teenage boys think. I guess, I don't know. Or even, men for that matter in general. They like to look at beautiful things. It's just the way it is. And, you can put as many ugly female characters into, and the same thing with men. People say, well, the women are very sexualized, whatever. What does Superman, Batman, all these guys look like? Captain America, what do they all look like? They're peak physical performance characters of the human form. That's what they look like. All of them. Whether it's male, female, or otherwise. They're all wearing tight clothes that show off their muscles and whatever other endowments they have. It doesn't go one way. Because we all like to look. We don't want to see what we are. We don't want to see the frumpy guy in a spandex. No, we want to see the height of physical performance in these things. And that's what we're getting with superheroes. I don't understand why people don't understand that on the other side. But here we have this is the introduction. I did get other issues after this, so I'm kind of jumping around. And this was in the 80s, and I don't think I had any of these when I was growing up. I mean, this was 65 cents. And, I mean, it's, we got Reese's there. But they're showing that the Baxter building disappeared or went into space or something. So there's just a big hole where the Baxter building was. And it's neat to see, like, I think they should go back to this where the paper's cheaper and can, drop 50 cents off the price of comics. Although everybody said, with the tariffs that the price of comics was going to go up another $1, and of course that didn't happen now. But anyway, so there's a whole bunch of riots that are starting to happen in New York around where the Baxter building previously was. And I think that's Wyatt Wingfoot, who is dating She-Hulk at this time. So She-Hulk is taken over for the position of the Thing. And I don't know how John Byrne came up with this idea of using She-Hulk instead of the Thing. I like the Thing, but I like She-Hulk in this position almost better. I hate to say it, almost better. I'm a big She-Hulk fan, even though the TV show was crap. But anyway, so these guys basically come at her, and she just throws them aside, and, she gets arrested for assault. And Mr. Fantastic is just like, don't put up a fight, just go with them, we'll figure it out. It's better off than escalating. And he has a broken arm. I don't know how that happened. I don't know. I didn't realize you could break his bones, but apparently you can. And he's in a sling, which becomes important later. So anyway, at this point in time, Johnny is dating Alicia, which I didn't realize until recently, until I started going backwards, because that is who Ben Grimm ends up marrying. So he got sloppy seconds? Is that what happened? I'm very confused by this. Alicia made her way around the Fantastic Four. But anyway, they decide that Johnny and Reed are going to go try to figure out what's going on, but there's no Baxter building. So they're going to go to the Avengers mansion and work in the lab there. And Johnny leaves Alicia with Sue to take her home. Okay? And that's that. And then we have Psycho Man there, or whatever his name is. He's the one actually manipulating everything. Him and this other guy that's a shapeshifter. And he shapeshifts into Mr. Fantastic. And that becomes important in a few seconds because they're going to try to manipulate Sue. But anyway, there's just all this stuff everywhere is breaking out because everybody's hypersensitive and they have these pamphlets, and that's what he's going to go look at. Meanwhile, somebody thinks that their paddy wagon there is somebody else's paddy wagon, and they shoot it. So Wyatt and Jennifer get rolled over, and she kicks the door off, and then they go, "Oh, whoa, we were misinformed about which paddy wagon this was. We're out of here." So now they're walking around because they escaped accidentally. But anyway, this other character jumps out of the middle of the ground, and she declares that her name is I am Malice. She's like, I'm going to beat the crap out of you. Which doesn't happen because, of course, it's actually Sue, and she's using her force fields to manipulate Jennifer, and Jennifer had no idea that she was going to be outmatched in this fight. Because, of course, she's usually the biggest woman in the room. So she's crushing her and all this stuff. And finally, she puts a force field around her head and suffocates her to the point where she passes out. Jennifer realizes it was. I like how she just sprawled out, arms and legs akimbo, man. She's out. And then Reed shows up, but it's not really Reed. And then she takes her thing off, and we realize that it's Sue, and she's gonna go after. She has a thing against Mr. Fantastic. He hasn't been treating her right or whatever. But then, as he's doing his investigation of the pamphlets, he realizes there's alien DNA or some kind of an alien infection inside the pamphlet. And it's infecting everyone. That's why everybody's all up in arms. And then Franklin, who's still a child here, sees a vision of Sue basically taking them out. So good stuff. Really, really good stuff. They're not writing anything from Fantastic Four anywhere even near this. And I would love to have somebody bring She-Hulk back onto the Fantastic Four for a little bit. It just works. I think it just works. I'd like to see 2 books, one with a Thing and one with Jennifer on it. But whatever. We don't have anything at this point. We have a really bad writer on it right at this point. So whatever. But I've given up on Fantastic Four. We had a couple of middle-of-the-road movies that were tolerable. I thought the cast in there was really good. Of course, that's where Chris Evans was, first introduced to the Marvel Universe, even though it was through Fox. And they screwed up Doctor Doom horribly. But I thought they did Silver Surfer well, but they also screwed up Galactus. So it's like they did one thing right and one thing wrong continuously. But at this point in time, that's the closest we have to a real Fantastic Four movie. Those 2 movies. That's the closest we have, and that is not incredibly close. And now then we had the latest one, which was god horrible. And now we have this one that's probably also going to be god horrible. I'm not even going to go see it. I'm not even excited about it. All right, so let's jump into Power Lords. This is, I guess, it's an 80s toy line that they've adapted, and this is by Oni Press. It was a slow week, so I decided to pick something up. And this was a #1, and I was like, all right, we got this blue guy on here. We got this chick here. That the dinosaur guy looks really weird and kind of off-putting, but everybody else kind of looks cool. So I'll check it out. So we have this insect guy. We have this big battle going on. I'm like, all right, cool. We're right in the middle of a battle. We start out in a battle. That's great. I can see the 80s toy line there with the chest and stuff like that. And then we basically have He-Man, but he's in a tank. So he's like half tank. and I have no idea who this red woman in the red skin is. I don't really know who any of these characters are. All I know is I'm in the middle of a battle. Then we have the blue guy from the cover show up. And I'm like, cool. And they make fun of him that he's shirtless or whatever else. And he gets his power from the gem in his head, kind of like Vision. And they tell him not to charge in there, but he does anyway, to the point where the bad guy basically takes the gem off his head. What an idiot. In the first 2 pages, he's already has no powers. He's plummeting to his death into some kind of a molten thing or whatever else, but he ends up going through a portal and disappearing. The portal disappears. He's gone, and they say, well, he just went into another time, another place, whatever. But he ends up not being in a different time. Not that I noticed. And this girl with the third eye here, again, I don't know anybody's name to any of this, but anyway, she's like, oh, it was my fault because I was supposed to be watching him or protecting him or whatever. So then we have 1 year later. That is bad writing, bro. Bad writing. this is number one. This is the first issue. This is where you're introducing us to all these characters. And you're already jumping in the first 5 pages to 1 year later. I'm already got whiplash. So I don't know anything about any of these characters. And now you have one that's depowered and put into the future or whatever. And the whole team is broken up. I don't even know anything about them. So I was very put off by this right off the bat. But anyway, now he's with 2 other guys. And this could have been pushed until the second issue. This piece of the storyline did not need to be here. But anyway, they are escaping with some kind of a map or something to that effect. And it's basically a treasure map that they've gotten. We got a treasure map! Woohoo! And he's like, well, if you guys don't shape up, I'm going to have to kick you off my team. And he's like, wait a minute. You would allow us one part of this team. You're a part of our team. I thought that was kind of funny. But he has like a freaking thumb drive. That's the most futuristic thing you can come up with, is a thumb drive. But anyway, this is the map he ends up getting, and they find, where they have to go inside the galaxy. And the people that they escape from, the red woman shows up, and I guess she realizes that it's this dude that was part of her group originally. And I thought maybe they were going to do a time travel thing, but they didn't. And they talk about what they're going to do with their money once they get it. And this little cat centipede creature gets interrogated. She's like, I'll do anything for you. And then she realizes he's part tank. And he's like, she's like, you can come out of that tank. And he's like, no, the tank is part of me. So he ices the thing over and says she's not going anywhere until she starts answering questions. And I guess this is where he got the map from. So they're tracking him down. So apparently it wasn't a time jump at all, because they still remember him or anything like that. So once they mentioned it was time and space, you'd kind of think they would change time, but it didn't. But anyway, they're fighting this other guy on their way. I don't know how they're existing in space with no helmets on, no suits on, no nothing. Their head is just totally exposed. Not sure how that works. But anyway, their battle continues as they go. The other guy saves him because he falls off the asteroid there. And there's the villain. Was also from the beginning of the book. And he's like, I'm going to make sure you're dead this time. And then Mr. Snoodle shows up and says, oh, you have my dead body. And then they end up finding what they were looking for, and that's where it ends. So, there's that. So, no. I'm going to do a recap with this right off the bat and say, no, this is not going to make a good film or television show. This doesn't even make any sense. I don't even know what the storyline is. Who are these people? What were they fighting for in the beginning? I don't know. Are they some kind of a group? Some kind of a planetary defense group or whatever? I have no idea who these people are. And as soon as you're about to maybe learn what's going on, they immediately jump to 1 year later. And so I'm very, very confused. And Fantastic Four, Sue turning evil would be I kind of like that idea. But it wouldn't be like a first movie. It would be like a second movie. But I like that idea of this, because I actually read the ending of this already. Because I had bought the ending, a few months ago. And because wherever I can find an issue, that's what I'm buying. And so I kind of know where this ends already, but this is actually a pretty decent storyline. I like a lot about. I mean, Byrne is just a really, really good writer, and the art in here is decent, and especially it's very 80s. Of course, they have she has a mullet. Anyway, that's it for me. Thank you guys for watching. I greatly appreciate it. Remember to give me that like, give me that thumbs up if you can, and if you can't subscribe, please do. Also, if you can jump into Green Hornet, again, we're only $1,500 shy of our goal. So definitely jump in there now. It's going to be an amazing project. Timothy Zahn, Kevin J. Anderson, Bill Willingham. It's just got a pile of really amazing writers. Go to greenhornetnoir.com or click the link in the description below and jump in on that. I'll see you guys on the next episode. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.